Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. How's it going, all you Minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my overview of the Batman Family Year One box set from DC Comics. So, let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So what we have here is the Batman Family Year One box set. I think out there it's called the Batman Family box set, but really the whole title is Batman Family Year One box set. And as you probably have guessed, this does contain everything but Batman Year One. So in the tradition of Batman Year One, we do get Nightwing, Batgirl, and Robin Year One. So here's the spine right here, the Batman Family Year One box set, the DC logo. I really like this design. As a matter of fact, the design mirrors that of the deluxe editions that came out a few years ago. And we'll do a little comparison as to what's included in here and what's included in the deluxe editions. But as you can see, that design was borrowed from the deluxe editions. Now let's look at the back of the book. This ISBN right here, it's just a leaflet. I just wanted to keep it on. There we go. So it was stuck there by these glue globs. There we go. That's better. That way you can see the whole image of Batgirl. So it does have a leaflet right here, giving you a little bit, and I mean a tiny little bit, as to what the stories contained in here are about. And then, of course, your ISBN with the retail price of $59.99. Now, we saw now we see the bottom of the box, which also has the ISBN. But let's go ahead and look at the spines of the books. This is really interesting. Okay, so it makes sense that they have them this way inside of the box. Even though Nightwing actually was published first, in chronological order, it absolutely needs to be like this. Robin leads into Batgirl Year One, and then Nightwing, this is when Dick Grayson becomes his own man. I do find it interesting that they didn't use the spine design for the Batgirl Year One, and we'll take a closer look as to maybe why they didn't. But regardless, all these particular stories are collected in here. And again, we'll do a comparison here in a little bit of the internal books. But let's go ahead and get these out of here. And no real pattern or anything inside of the box there. It's just pure black. DC logo there and the DC logo there. Now, one thing they did was do a mashup of the Nightwing and Robin cover. Not really the Robin cover that they used for there I go, hitting the camera again. Sorry, new camera. Not really the Robin cover that they used for the deluxe edition. And actually, let's do that. Here's the Robin Year One deluxe edition that came out a couple of years ago, and the Robin Year One trade paperback that came in the box. So it is a different image, but it's also the mashup image that they use for the front of the box there, along with Nightwing Year. Oh, there's that light. Nightwing Year One. But this is the slight difference, and of course the size, right? This is a deluxe edition hardcover. This is a trade paperback. And now, Batgirl Deluxe and the trade that comes inside of the box. Now, one very interesting thing to note is that the trade paperbacks that come inside of the box for Robin and Batgirl, they have an ISBN, so it seems like these are being sold separately, both of them for $19.99. But that's not the case for Nightwing. It seems like this trade paperback is exclusive to the box set. And that could be because this particular deluxe edition has a 20th anniversary, golly, has it really been 20 years? 20th anniversary release that just came out this year with additional pages. So it's got extra pages, and I didn't pick it up because I knew I was going to end up getting the box set. But maybe I should. Maybe I should to see what the pages they added were. But I do think that, I love the design of the spines on these. All right, so what we're going to do is start with Robin Year One, give you the pitch of the stories found in here, check out this beautiful artwork, and then we'll do a comparison with the deluxe edition to see if there's anything extra or anything missing. And we'll do the same for Batgirl and then Nightwing Year One. All right, here we have Robin Year One. We saw the spine and we saw the back, but let's go ahead and get into the story here. And I love this design, Robin Year One. Let's give credit where credit is due. Yeah, the colors are just awesome here. Chuck Dixon, Scott Beatty, and you have Javier Pulido with Marcos Martin supplying the pencils, and you have the inks of Robert Campanella, the colorings of Lee Lufrich, and then Sean Connaught doing the lettering. Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger. And here is your issue number 1. It's a textless cover, so this does collect Robin Year One, the 4-issue miniseries, and they were prestige format, so they were oversized because the book has 216 pages, which, funny enough, it has the exact same page count as the deluxe edition. So all the extras are the same, and the beginning is the same, like including the colors. But we'll look at the comparison here in a little bit. To give you the pitch of this is taking place after the events of Batman Dark City by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. And that introduces us to the character of Dick Grayson and Batman giving him the ability to become Robin. So in this, it's his first year being Robin, a lot of the mistakes he's making, and a lot of the wins that he's had. We start off with Mr. Minetti here, who went to prison. He's serving time, and he's yelling at his lawyer that, hey, the Bats, he has a kid that's working with him. That's his ally. And it's the first time that you hear within the criminal underground that Batman now has a kid sidekick. And of course, we all know him as Robin. So they go on adventures. We see them win. And like I said, we see some losses too. We see a little bit of a flashback as to what happened in the previous story arc, which happened in Dark City, but also it's been part of his history before, like in Batman Year 3. So to kind of let you know about when this takes place, if you're reading this for the first time and don't know anything about Robin, God bless you, because you don't have to worry about continuity, because continuity has been retconned so many times, it does become a little difficult as to what's canon here and what isn't. Enjoy for what it is. To me, this takes place at any time, as long as you know that Dick Grayson was Robin, and this is his first year. Doesn't matter what universe, the New 52, the Rebirth universe, the post-Crisis universe. I think it just gathers everything good that was about his origin and puts it into one book. So we see Dick Grayson, and we see him at school. We see him as Robin. There's this young girl named Jenny that has his eye on him, and she's walking to this particular store with her friend Claire, where this guy right here, who everybody immediately looks at him and is like, oh my gosh, that's the Mad Hatter, obviously. He gives Claire these headphones. So what he's doing is he's kidnapping these blonde girls and calling them Alice, and he's ending up selling them to this particular person that comes from across the seas every year, but he's a very well-known rich guy, if you will. And that's when Bruce Wayne decides to investigate and realizes that, hey, a lot of your classmates have been kidnapped, people your age. How about you infiltrate the school and try to figure this out, Dick? And that's exactly what he does. He tries to go into the school records, and the whole point was to go undercover. Bruce was going to go undercover to meet this rich guy that's supposedly buying all these young girls, and Dick Grayson was supposed to be going undercover to kind of set up the capture of these villains, including that of the Mad Hatter. However, Dick Grayson figures out where the girls are, where they're being held, and he puts on the costume, not really listening to the words of Bruce Wayne. So what ends up happening is the girls are reunited, of course, but it shows the first instance of when Dick Grayson said, I don't think I should really listen to Bruce. I know he goes against everything he taught me, but I feel like I should listen to my instincts. So we see him fight the Killer Moth, we see him fight Blockbuster, and several other villains. Two-Face has an interest in this kid. He wants to take him down. What ends up happening is that Commissioner Gordon also doesn't agree with Batman running around with a child. Feels like he's endangering this kid. He's like, hey, what are you doing? You're not at war here with criminals. You're a guy that dresses up as a bat, and you have this kid that's with you. What ends up happening through here is that Dick Grayson doesn't listen to Batman again and goes and helps him out. And he kind of puts him at a crossroads where he has to decide who to save, this particular judge or Batman. And once that coin is tossed, He can only save one. So it's an awful beating that he gets from Two-Face, and then Batman puts a stop to it. So what happens after this is that he ends up taking Dick Grayson to Leslie, wonderful Leslie Tompkins, who, of course, has been a big part of the Batman mythos since the 80s. I say 80s, but that's when she appeared to me. I think her character actually appeared in the 70s. But he practically fires him. And Dick Grayson has to take it upon himself to regain the role of Robin. So the rest of this is about redeeming yourself and being worthy of being Batman's sidekick, but also being your own person and standing your ground. He ends up joining this group, like a junior league of assassins who go after Two-Face, and they're all being led by this character named Shrike. Let's look in the back here, because I've given you enough of a pitch. And I do believe we've done an old reader, new reader on a lot of these. So in the back, we do have the sketchbook here, which has a lot of sketches. And it's the last one there. There we go. Including that. So as far as the sketches, those are also collected in the deluxe edition. Of course, the deluxe edition being bigger, but it is the exact same sketches and the exact same page count as the deluxe edition. Now, one thing I wanted to do was, of course, showcase what the art looks like. Of course, it's a little bit bigger in the deluxe edition. The paper stock that they're using is this new paper stock that they've been using, honestly, for some of their recent trade paperbacks. It's like a semi-gloss finish to it. So it does change the colors a little bit. And let's look at some actual sequential art here. My gosh, it's just so good. The layouts and just simplicity to this. And I feel so bad saying simplicity to this particular artwork, because it's just so genius the way that the panel layouts work, and it's just so easy to follow. Now let's look at Batgirl Year One. So this is a follow-up to Robin Year One, because towards the end of Robin Year One, it kind of leads into this particular book. Now, this one I'll go ahead. Comparison is going to be very similar. You know, you have the thick paper stock here, and over here you have this new semi-gloss paper. However, this time around, you have an introduction, because this goes into the introduction instead of giving you the actual credits. You know, you have your title page, but what they do in the trade paperback version is they mix the title page with the credit page. So you get the credits and the title page all in one, but it jumps into an introduction here, and it's a 2-page introduction by the co-writer Scott Beatty, who talks about where the idea came from. And here, just to kind of give you an idea, again, not much difference other than that. That's about the only new thing that's in here. Oh my gosh, the art in here. Oh, all right. But this one, again, it's the same team. It's Chuck Dixon and Scott Beatty working on this book. Marcos Martin coming in as the artist of this one, though, with Alvaro Lopez and Javier Rodriguez doing the coloring and Willie Schubert doing the lettering. So immediately taking place after the events of Robin Year One. This book also has 240 pages, the same as the deluxe edition. So this is the story of how Barbara Gordon became Batgirl, and this collects the 9-issue miniseries. So even though it's 9 issues, it's got almost about the same amount of content as Robin Year One, because those were giant size. And the basic story of this is Barbara Gordon graduating early from college, trying to find her way in life, trying to figure out what she wants to do. Like, she tries to go and join the GCPD, and her father forbids her. James is like, no, you're not doing that. At this time, and during Year One of Robin, he's a captain. He's the captain of the Gotham Police Department. No, not commissioner, not yet. But she's like, look, I can do this. I've got martial arts training, and it's one of these things that's, yeah, it becomes very tropey in comic books, especially when you have a female lead. Everybody doubts her. You know, it kind of becomes like she can't really move into this position of power because she's a woman. And as tropey as it is, I still love this book. It's one hell of an awesome story. So we see some flashbacks and then present day. You have the Killer Moth here invading this masquerade party where she decides to dress as Batman as a joke. So it's not like she's really growing inspiration from Batman. As a matter of fact, who she has inspiration from is the Justice Society of America, and that is mainly Black Canary. So even Black Canary says, look, why don't you come and be my apprentice, and writes her a letter, and she goes in this costume, and it's really Wildcat that tells her, look, you need to give up this game. You're a child. You don't need to be a vigilante. You don't need to be a hero. And she's like, no, she refuses to give up. Eventually, Batman and Robin get involved. They're like, hey, quit playing this game. You don't belong with us. This is our life. You're somebody else. You have a life. We're doing this for a specific reason. And there's so much trust that is gained between Batman and Batgirl. It's a wonderful, wonderful evolution of a character. I love this book. And it's hard to pick my favorite ones out of these, but I'm not going to lie. Nightwing's my favorite character. So, of course, I'm going to go with Nightwing. Even though it's still Dick Grayson and Robin is Dick Grayson. Or Dick Grayson is Robin in Year One. And Dick Grayson is Robin in here. Because, like I said, it's a follow-up. So, she does try to prove herself, and it doesn't really work out at first, and then eventually she does get the approval of everybody. Her father during this time thinks that Barbara Gordon is Batgirl because he finds her hair at a crime scene, and he's like, wait a second, what's Barbara's hair doing here? What is going on? What does this mean? So he thinks he's got it all figured out, and the way that Batman and Robin deal with that is it's Silver Age hokey, but it works. Eventually, she does get to meet Black Canary, one of her heroes, and there is some foreshadowing, because the beauty when it comes to a retro series like this, right? It's a flashback series. This was written in the early aughts. I believe this one was 2003, Robin was 2001, but you have the beauty of all those years of knowing where Barbara Gordon is going, right? Like where her life is heading, especially after the horrible events of the Killing Joke, and then leading into her role as Oracle. So again, taking place pre-New 52. That's the way you got to read these stories for what they are. Oh, and this is such a wonderful story. And just look at this beautiful artwork. Her and Robin have a beautiful chemistry together. Like he's totally hitting on her, and she's not digging it at all because he's a little bit younger than she is. That is the one thing about this book that even I just did a read this morning. I still don't know exactly how old she is. I feel like she's written as a super smart character, so she graduated early. So she still could be like 18, 19 during this time. It's still a teenager, but still living with her dad, had moved back in with her dad. But it's a coming of age story. It's learning to be who you want to be and not finding a place to fit in because everybody's rejecting you for who you are. So you make your own place in life. And this is the path she decided. And she becomes one hell of a crime fighter. And eventually one of the greatest characters in the DC universe. Now, as far as the Condiment King, as far as the extras in the back, we have the sketchbook here by Marcos Martin, laying out all these characters that are going to be appearing through here. That does say Commissioner Gordon, but he wasn't called Commissioner Gordon in the comic. He was Captain Gordon. And then pages. I love this actual sketch. Then the pencils here. And then the inks and the finished part right there. And again, the process. And then a bio on the creators. And the exact same thing is found in the deluxe edition. So this is practically the same content that you're going to find in the deluxe edition, except it's in a trade paperback. Now let's look at Nightwing Year One, my absolute favorite out of the three. Oh my gosh, I love this story. If you watch Old Reader, New Reader, I know we've done Old Reader, New Readers on all of these for like a deep dive. This is a little bit different. I mean, it has to be, right? When you're looking at a deluxe edition, it says deluxe edition. That title page is the same, but this is Nightwing Year One, the deluxe edition, and then your credits there. Whereas over here, it's like a white on blue instead of black on blue. But Scott Beatty and Chuck Dixon coming back to write these stories, or this particular story. And I want to say coming back because this is actually written before the Robin Year One and Batgirl Year One, because this takes place during Nightwing, and I'll explain here in a little bit. Scott McDaniel doing the artwork, Andy Owens, the inker, Gregory Wright, the colorist, and then Phil Balsman is the letterer. So this contains Nightwing 101 to 106. What The hell, you're probably asking yourself. The other ones are like 1 through 4 and 1 through 9. What's going on with this? Why jump ahead? Well, because much like Batman Year One, Year Two, and Year Three, this was actually taking place during the run of Nightwing at the time that Chuck Dixon had left. As a matter of fact, I want to say this is during Devin Grayson's era, but both Chuck Dixon and Scott McDaniel came back to write the story of Nightwing Year One, how Dick Grayson became Nightwing. Again, 160 pages, the same as the deluxe edition. The new edition has about 40 more pages extra, so like the 20th anniversary deluxe edition, if you haven't gotten this box set, you don't know any of these, yeah, that's the way to go. So really quickly, the story here, it's another one of retelling of how Dick Grayson became Nightwing. And it's pretty much, he's spending a lot of time with school, he's spending a lot of time with the Teen Titans, and Batman realizes that he's spending less and less time in Gotham, and not listening to him. And he's like, look, man, I gotta spend time away from here. I can't just make this my life. And he's like, I need a warrior. I don't need a punk kid. Okay, he didn't say quite like that. But then again, it is Batman's voice, right? So he was like, I need a soldier to be by my side. And he tells him you're fired. Like, he fires him. And he's so cold about it. He's like, get out of my cave. And poor Dick is like, okay, fine, if that's the way you want it. Just like a kid would, right? Like a teenager would. And he's like, Dick, leave the new uniform. Oh, that's cold. So Dick Grayson just leaves. And where does he go? He ends up going to, of all places, Metropolis to go and talk to Clark Kent. And Clark's like, he can't fire you, man. What's up with that? Like, it's not like you have a job. It's not like he's paying you money. And actually, the way that Dick handles it is like an adult. He's like, look, it's his life. That's the role he plays. He fired me. He has every right to fire me if he wants to. And Superman goes and tries to stop this big explosion from happening. There's a countdown on this timer that's going off, that's got a bomb. And eventually, what this leads into is something that we've known about, because if you've read like Judas Contract and stories like that, you know where he got the inspiration from. Part of the inspiration. And that is Superman telling him a story about this legendary warrior in his home world of Krypton known as Nightwing. Nobody knew who he really was. Like, he left his parents' side and he became a legend. And that's all Dick Grayson needed to hear. He's like, okay, I'm no longer Robin. And he also tells him, he's like, look, this is where I come. This is my fortress of solitude. Everybody needs a fortress of solitude. Where do you go when you're in trouble, Dick? Or when you need to do some thinking? So Dick Grayson goes to the one place that he can think of, and that is the Haley Circus. So that's where he ends up going. And of course, he runs into trouble. He runs into people that he knew, but he also runs into some new friends that may inspire him more than he thought. And that's what this is. You're going to see some stuff from Teen Titans in here. Not so much like the Judas Contract, because we've seen that story. But you do see something else that happens that I thought was so awesome. Not just this wonderful, oh my gosh, I love Babs and Dick Grayson so much. But you see the beginning of the new Robin, and that is Jason Todd. And how Dick Grayson feels about Batman taking in another kid. Like, we never really got to see that much as those stories were coming out, like the Jason Todd stories. So this goes back and does it in a retro way that I thought was beautifully done. Oh, I love this. I'm not doing seal of approvals. This is a box set, sorry. And as far as the extras in the back, you do get the sketches and the layouts. So you get layouts for the covers and more of the layouts. And then the bio on the creators, which is the exact same thing that you get over here. Now, if you really like Nightwing Year One, like he's your favorite DC character, then go and get that 20th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. Which reminds me, why the hell have I not? But that's it, everybody. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this box set, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcon at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this box set. In the comments down below, let me know if you own these particular stories already in trade paperback or deluxe edition, or if you've never read them and have just been waiting for them to come back to print. If you did read them, which one your favorite one of the year ones is. Always probably will be Nightwing for me. And don't get me wrong, the other two are beautiful, wonderful. But that's it, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Smash that like button on the way out. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.